Chapter 39 Edgar. Ezra and I were still running. The thunderous roar of our pursuer won't get any quieter, despite our best efforts to escape him. This struggle is filled with the sounds of building walls on the collapse, the sounds of swords cutting through the air, and the screeches of metal chafing against one another. Edgar is chasing us, and Vespa is slowing him down.
Look, have you still not made up your mind? Just what is the hesitation for? You may be bold in the face of major occasions, but you're quite the reluctant one when it comes to the little things.
The marksman of the mist says to me, being carried on Ezra's shoulder. This is not a little thing at all. Edgar comes from the Zwei Association. Anyone with half a brain in this business knows there are boundaries a fixer shouldn't cross. They're what differentiates you from a syndicate crook. Violating those rules will result in demotion, or worse, disqualification from work. However, if we murdered a fixer from Section 1 of the Zwei Association while doing bidding for the thumb, disqualification would be the least of our concerns. We'd become the target of requests. No, I know better. That despite everything, this can be covered up as long as Diaz has our back. The shallow sense of justice left in me is repulsed by the thought. Though that's not it either. I'm aware that I've come too far to speak of justice at this point. It all comes down to not wanting to rely on her. Diaz is deeply intertwined with every problem, from the cause to the solution, and I hate to see myself continually asking her for help. It's a childish and personal reason. How laughable that I brought up righteousness and conscience as a fixer for my first excuse. Think you can hit him?
You've decided at last! Anywhere in the mist, and whomever you want.
Boom! With a loud noise, Edgar landed in front of us. His armor was riddled with impacts and slices from Vespa's sword, though none of them appeared to have left any critical damage. He held Vespa by the hair with his left hand.
Vespa Crabro, you're tough, but you lack experience. I can sense uncertainty in your blade.
Edgar spat as he slammed Vespa into the ground. Shoot him. The marksman of the mist pulled the trigger right on cue. The bullet was aimed for the center of Edgar's forehead. He easily dodged the shot by tilting it to the side.
Using cheap little tactics, aren't ya?
Said a deep voice. Then Edgar swung his fist at me.
Detective!
At that moment, Ezra tossed the marksman into the air and stopped that fist with both hands. Another shockwave shook the street. Crackle, crunch. Ezra's arms broke from the overwhelming impact. She coughed up blood and fell on her knees. He clenched his fist and extended his arm once more, an attack with murderous intent. He's trying to kill me with this fist. I kept my eyes open and looked straight into him. His fist did not reach me.
Ha-ha! Anywhere and whomever you desire. My bullet circled round and eventually reached you.
The bullet struck Edgar's head from the back. It rotates where it landed, to be precise. Just like that, Edgar came to a halt. Phew. I caught my breath. It was one of the few moments in my life when I was ready to accept my doom. Ezra, can you stand up?
This isn't a big deal.
The first aid kit in Ezra's dimensional bag should be enough to take care of a broken arm. However, as it is a limited resource, I feel rather hesitant to use it right away. Vespa is unconscious on the ground, wounded and bruised. We should sort this out. Hey, how long does your bullet keep a person frozen?
That depends on the person.
You, for one, overcame it with much haste and elegance. Is it okay to move a person in this state?
Well, I don't see it being an issue. Not that I have made such an attempt before.
Ezra can't use her arms due to injury. I tapped Vespa on the cheek a few times to wake him up. He let out a faint groan as his eyes opened slightly.
Have you taken care of him?
For now. Vespa got up, running his hand through his hair. He looked at me, then at Ezra and the marksman of the mist, and finally surveyed his surroundings to get a gist of the situation.
Let's get moving first.
I nodded. Vespa put Ezra on his shoulder and grabbed Edgar at the back of the neck. A small act of revenge, perhaps. The marksman of the mist is plenty willing to follow us without any persuasion necessary. We should get to a good place to rest before we take the ammunition to Isabel.
No, I'm going with you!
Edgar's determined shout echoed through the basement. Then his eyes met mine.
Rang! Blip! Well, fuck. Both you and I are captives, huh? Damn it. What happened back there? The back of my head, it aches like hell.
Detective! Thank goodness that guy didn't die, at least.
Amazing! Another who possesses a spirit of steel. How serendipitous of me to witness two people triumph over my bullets in a single day.
I'm sitting on a crate, watching our tied and restrained Edgar with a smoking pipe pursed by my lips. Ezra and Vespa are waiting for my orders at the back.
You haven't killed me yet, so I reckon there's something you want.
First off, I'd like to clear the misunderstanding between us, Edgar.
If you mean how I mistook you for some small-time lackeys of the thumb, then you bet it's cleared. Crystal, congratulations. Killing me would be a huge step in your criminal career. You're gonna be real famous among the syndicates. Might even get you a nice little position in the thumb.
I shook my head as I blew out smoke from my pipe. Let me introduce myself once more. I'm Moses, a grade 5 fixer belonging to the 7 Association. My current occupation is the Distortion Detective.
A detective? Distortions?
My work is to deal with the distortions we encounter in this nest and retrieve them. We crossed paths with the thumb unexpectedly, thus we had no other option but to cooperate.
Did you harm any civilians during your little errand?
No.
Right. Maybe you didn't. You probably thought you could just be on your way after you're done helping the thumb. I bet you never stopped to think of the lives of innocents that'd be lost to the bullets you retrieved. That's what I find unforgivable about people like you.
You want to hold us accountable because of that. Why don't you consider the possibility that we might help more innocent and powerless people after the business is settled? Your accusation is just a delusion.
A delusion, eh? Yeah, right. I've said similar things plenty of times in my life.
I inhaled smoke. So, you refuse to show any understanding for our situation.
Maybe I'll give it another thought when you turn against the thumb.
You seem to think you have the upper hand. You're tied to a chair. Your life is in our hands.
And yet, here you are, trying to negotiate with me.
He's an old hand. He must have a rough grasp of our awkward circumstances. What would be your demand if that were the case? Do you want the thumb dead?
Yep.
Fine.
All right. Then let me hear your side of the story.
We're about to arrive at the house that the thumb took over after murdering its previous residents. Isabel and her group greet us in front of the house.
You're back, Miss Moses.
Edgar runs at her as soon as she stops speaking.
Rang!
Edgar's metallic dog once again becomes a suit of armor that covers his body. His ironclad fist struck Isabel's face right away. She was slightly knocked back, but retaliated with a knee to Edgar's stomach. The mutual attack created a bit of distance between the two.
What is the meaning of this, Miss Moses?
Isabel asks, spitting bloodied saliva. I shouldn't speak with her. Destroying the assemblage of the Thumb's members with no room for negotiation. It seems I can't avoid sinking into pits of violence no matter what I do. Ezra, Vespa, will support him. We're facing a capo and 20 soldatos from the Thumb. On our side, we have 2 grade 1 fixers, 1 grade 3 fixer, and 1 grade 5 fixer. And 1 distortion. Chapter 40. To Bring Justice. Vespa, you're free to brandish your sword with no constraint this time. I've been waiting for this. Vespa nodded. I imagine his sword was held back by worry when he was fighting Edgar. The boundaries of a fixer are no concern against the Thumb, however. Vespa drew his blade and charged into the soldados without hesitation. We have their ammunition, and as such, they're devoid of the means to stop Vespa and Ezra from approaching them. Edgar is in a scuffle with Isabel. Isabel's brass knuckles collide with Edgar's steel fists, creating noises and sparks that distract my senses. Edgar should be able to handle Isabel on his own if we keep the soldados occupied. The problem is how the 4 of us are going to take on 20 of them. Ezra, we'll take on 3 and leave the rest to Vespa.
Got it, Detective!
I bit my smoking pipe. What I can do is let out 3 forms of breath. Lending a hand with the red breath won't do much against a single soldato. The other options are the white breath and violet breath. Breaking their psyche or tying them down would be a more effective approach. Time will solve this problem. I let out a violet puff. The pipe assumed the form of a whip, and I lashed it at 2 soldatos running towards Ezra. How well I can wield a whip is irrelevant. What matters more is the mental image. I have to picture how I will bind them in clear detail. As I do, the whip wraps around the victims and purple thorns dig into their skin. Ezra, now!
Okay!
Ezra swung her hammer at one of the immobilized soldatos to crush their cranium. She then swung it at the other, but missed, and they retaliated with the buttstock of their rifle. It turns into a stalemate, dragging on without either side gaining an upper hand. Vespa seemed to be struggling to land fatal blows on the foes surrounding him as well. However, this delay is exactly what we need.
Anywhere, and whomever you desire.
The marksman of the mist has finished imbuing the Thumb's bullets with his power. His shots hit one target after another. Some manage to react, but the bullets take a tortuous route and find a way to get to them regardless. One by one, they cease movement, and the last bullet struck Capo Isabel.
That's what got me, huh?
Edgar muttered.
These Thumb crooks are yours to take care of now.
The sound of a new bullet hole in a human. The bullets have already begun to pierce those who couldn't overcome the trial. Edgar watches as the soldados fall.
All right, I'll deal with them my way. What about that man you call the marksman of the mist, then?
We'll be taking him. Edgar made a bitter smile. Then he thrust his arm through Isabel's head at a tremendous speed.
So is it just me, or are those bullet holes the same kind as the ones left in the deceased crew of my association?
I placed a hand on my forehead. The corpses of Zwei Association fixers we found in that workshop weren't the doing of the Thumb. That was most certainly the marksman's work. The decision I need to make here is clear-cut. I can always procure distortions another time. For that, Preserving my life comes first. You can have the marksman. In return, I ask you to stop pursuing us.
Moses, it's hard for me to tell where you stand. You're acting for a single goal with no morals tugging at you, good or evil. You're the kind of person who would stop at nothing to reach what you want.
Are you speaking the truth? Do you sincerely have no need of me?
The marksman of the mist shouted from afar. I only need to take care of the task Diaz entrusted me with. That's all there is to it. The marksman isn't necessary help for this job. Bzz. My prosthetic arm emits a light. Dr. Moses? I get the gist of your current situation. It's Han Hei-jun. He's contacting me after all this time?
I thought communication systems were all busted around here.
Edgar murmured to himself dryly. He must have mixed feelings seeing this kind of technology, given his crew probably had a hard time requesting assistance here. Lady Diaz says she will have the aftermath cleaned up. I want you to secure the marksman of the mist. Han Hei-jun has been watching us all along. He's at least seen enough to know the context of the recent events surrounding me. He most likely kept an eye over us when we were being chased by sweepers and when we were negotiating with the Thumb. I'm not even surprised. This is how Han Hei-jun works, and what he said just now is a roundabout way of meaning that we are allowed to kill Edgar. It's an indirect order from Diaz to do so. I'm not going to kill that man.
Like hell you aren't.
Ezra, stop him with all your strength. Ezra threw herself at Edgar as he raised a fist and started running toward me. She barely managed to hold him back with the imperfect psychomint manifested on her body. Her psychomint tends to be brought out in rather heated moments, and I have to be involved in it.
What's up with you, really? Is it money that you're after? No, you're motivated by your beliefs. Not the honest kind, though. Your twisted beliefs gnaw at the things in your wake. With your half-hearted sense of justice, you spared my life while taking down the Thumb's mooks. But that sense of justice is easily broken as soon as it drags you down. Or maybe your justice was too soft to even break in the first place. You're a band of scum, there's no doubt about that.
I tensely held my smoking pipe in my lips. As Edgar said, I act according to my beliefs. Atonement, self-consolation. That is the only goal I need to achieve. Nothing else matters. I move purely for this single purpose. I took a breath and let out paleness. Turquoise blue powder covered Edgar.
Detective, why?
Ezra yelled at me. Thanks for pointing out something I'm already painfully aware of, Edgar. I won't kill you for the sake of my scummy beliefs.
Rang, it's time to bring justice again.
Edgar's armor began to glow and sparks flew off. It seems he's ramping up the power output of his armor to the maximum. Pushing Ezra away, he bolted forward. His destination isn't me, it's the marksman of the mist that he's aiming for. A bolt of blue light dashes across the street. He sprints on all fours, assuming posture reminiscent of a wolf. But he won't reach where he wants to be. The more he runs, the more the turquoise powder buries into his armor. A temporal treadwheel. Edgar's movement slowed to a near-complete halt.
Phew, I thought you had forsaken me for a moment.
The marksman of the mist descends from the building and comes running. Ezra is looking at me with tears in her eyes.
You're such a liar, Detective.
Vespa sheathes his swords and walks to us. The situation has been handled somehow.
No, I can't stop here.
A lens was shattered, sending shards of glass flying into the air. The sound of it came afterward. Edgar's fist had smashed the head of the marksman. It happened all too suddenly. No one present could possibly expect or react to this. His movement unfolded before my eyes in slow motion, as if all of it were crystallized within a frozen sliver of time, a mere fraction of a second. He thwacked Vespa's sword with a backhand just as he tried to draw it. The sword was pinned into the ground along with its hilt. Then his left fist struck Vespa in the chest.
Hey Moses, what did I tell ya? I said it's time to bring justice. I won't let you get away scot-free.
Could this be the side effect of the pale breath? It seems as though Edgar stored momentum while his movement was halted. I have never encountered this kind of situation before. There's nothing Ezra or I can do at this distance. Is this your definition of justice? Killing people left and right? Do you think you're bringing about justice by murdering whoever seems guilty enough to you?
Oh, I do, ma'am.
Edgar grabbed me by the neck and lifted me upward. His grip is iron. It feels like he could tear apart my throat at any moment. Even this likely isn't the full extent of his strength. Ezra grapples his arm and kicks him to no avail. He won't flinch at all. The marksman of the mist is dead. The thumb's crooks are slain. You know who we actually are, too. What reasoning do you have left, then? Butchering fixers out of mere spite?
You think running your mouth will save your life?
I believe I'm describing the situation as it is. What you're doing at the moment is no better than a syndicate's behavior.
Fucking hell, Rang. I know.
Edgar threw me to the ground.
I'll remember you, Moses the Distortion Detective, and your assistants, Ezra and Vespa. I'll be in charge of every damn thing you do in this nest.